Hello, and welcome to Lions University, course number 314. This course is on leading controversial committee discussions. This course is brought to you by USA Canada Lions Leadership Forum. I am Past Council Chairman Dina Shurtleff. I will be your host for today. As a reminder, this course is being recorded and will be available for future use, and if you wish to go back and recheck the information at a later time. If you would like to participate in today's webinar, please use the question pane or chat pane and put your question there. I will relay this information to the instructor. We may have time where I can unmute you and you can ask the question accordingly. Today, our course is 314 and will be presented by Lion Dimple Willibus. Lion Dimple is a great lion. She has finished her doctorate program with Lions University. She has many qualifications, is a great presenter. She does marketing throughout the world, and some of her presentations have been noted by many famous people. Dimple is a member of the First Responders Lions Club in New York City. Their Lions Club helped many across the world and in their neighboring states. She is an amazing lion leader. Today, we are doing the doctorate program. This program is requiring one required class and 9 electives. You may register on Lions University with a username and password. This will need to be a different username and password from LCI. You may also use that same username and password, but they do not connect to each other. At the end of this video, you may mark it as a complete for this course and then click the next button at the bottom. To finish the quiz, you may track all of your courses in real time on Lions University. With that, I am going to turn it over to you, Lion Dimple.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lion Deanna. Again, my name is Lion Dimple Willibus, and I am the charter president. I'll share my screen. My name is, again, Lion Dimple Willibus, and I'm going to just remove the icon so that everyone can see. All right. Anyway, so yes, so my name is Lion Dimple Willibus, and I'm the charter president of First Responders Lions Club. And like Lion Deanna said, I've completed a doctorate program at Lions University. And on the academic front and the professional front, I have a Master's of Science degree from Brooklyn College here in New York in journalism. And I am in the field of marketing as well. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I present to different countries, depends on where my client takes me, any part of the world. No part of the world is restricted. And I'm currently also the charter president of First Responders Lions Club. Today's seminar is Leading Controversial Committee Discussions. And we will take a little bite into this because this is a discussion or a seminar that can really take hours and hours because there's so many pieces of it that we can discuss that will be so useful because in dealing with humans, there's so much that we can learn and grow from. And there's so many different cultures that is so much to learn also. So we'll take it in pieces when we talk about the intellectual aspect of it, when we look at the objectives. We will do some critical thinking And we'll talk about informed decision-making and knowledge sharing. On the social component of it, we will look at building empathy, conflict resolution, and camaraderie building, which is critically important, not only as Lions, but just in life in general. And from the personal perspective, we will look at effective communication and developing critical thinking skills, while we also, in the interim of everything else, how do we manage emotions throughout this process? So as we all would think about controversial discussions, I've put together a simple definition, and as it reads, a controversial discussion is a debate or conversation that involves arguments, disagreement, arguments, or dispute over a particular topic, issue, or idea. And some of the controversial discussions come about from such causes as strong opposing views, being angry or frustrated, evoke strong emotions, challenging to find common ground. And these things can also impact relationships or affect organizational performances. Now, this is a part where we'll bite a little deeper into controversial discussions and how it arises and the various factors. As Lions, we know that Lions are from every part of the globe, literally. So when we talk of the social and cultural differences, we literally mean the social and cultural differences, because it depends on which part of the globe you're from. You look at life differently, and everyone does things in a way that may be different when they come to a different culture. For example, living here in the United States, there are certain roles and responsibilities for someone else living in another part of the globe, which is India or Africa or China or South America. So in some cultures, women play different roles, the men play a different role. So if a female may be leading a committee discussion, it may not be as interpreted the same way or respected in the same way, being talked to, the female leading the discussion being talking towards men in a discussion. So men may look at it as a little more disrespectful, so on and so forth. So in this case, we have to understand what we're getting into. And coming here in America, we're so accustomed or comfortable, men leading, women from different cultures leading, because that's the culture we have here in America. But we still have to be cognizant of the fact that culture plays a massive role, and social roles are defined in a specific way, different countries, different places. And this is really talking to the white elephant in the room. A lot of times we really don't know that this exists in certain cultures because we're here in America, but it does exist. So it's important for us to understand before we go into a discussion. And if we are Lions in a broader space, let's say in a room where there are district governors, different cultures, again, play different roles and is accepted differently. So I'll refer again to a woman running, a lion, female lion, leading the discussion on a committee, on this committee discussion, a controversial committee discussion. How can she get a point across without being looked at as one, maybe having an accent, maybe from a different country, maybe from a different culture? So we have to break down those barriers first so that we can be able to address what we're having the discussion on. The discussion is on ABC, whatever the discussion is on. So let's focus on the discussion. So social and cultural differences is critical when we approach a situation. When we're in a room where there's a discussion to be had, we have to be able to break those things down first, that first layer, addressing, like I said, the white elephant in the room, and then we could address the discussion. Those are some of the first key things to talk about, social and cultural differences. Now, in a discussion, the next thing we'll address is misinformation and biases. When we go into a situation, whether it be within our club, within the district, within the multiple, again, I'll refer to governors, district governors. Some district governors in some districts, it is so difficult for them to have camaraderie, for them to have a cohesive agenda or a cohesive meeting simply because of, certain biases. that are already set up in place. So it is important for us to eliminate the biases. And for those who are taking this course, to go into your meeting, as I said before, know before you go. Before you go into a meeting and leading a meeting or a discussion, it's critical that you know who's going to be in the room, what are some of the ideas that they come with possibly, so you could be prepared, doing enough research before you get into that space. So misinformation about you, who's presenting, and who's leading that discussion, and biases that come in the groups that probably will come into that space to listen to you, you have to be prepared in how to handle that, because this is life. This is how it is. And as leaders, we will always face some form of challenges, but it's not the challenges we face is what make the difference, is how we approach it and how we handle it that will make the difference in getting to a conclusive solution, a solution that everybody will look at as, okay, this was a problem solved kind of setup. So in misinformation and biases, it says here that incorrect or misleading information can fuel disagreements and controversy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sensitive topics, as I just mentioned, such as race, religion, social justice, and even political discussions can be very contentious. So before we go into that space, it's incredibly important that we do our research as leaders and never go unprepared, because if you go unprepared and you're asked questions, then that will be a problem. So in resolving controversial discussions, it's really understanding what you're getting into and exactly if it's dealing with a cultural issue, a racial issue, a social issue. And one of the things to note, leaders who are taking this course, is that members of your Lions Club, members of any organization, want to be heard, want to be seen. A lot of times we find that leaders are not necessarily giving credit to younger Lions or individuals who may have less experience, but those people who come with less experience may be good or qualified in a different space that you may not be qualified in. So controversy will come if you eliminate or rule that person out without giving them a voice. It's important to at least have allies instead of an enemy or somebody who is not in support of you as a leader in a certain position. So having the ability to be able to resolve controversial discussions is critical to any organization. And this is not only as being a Lion. These are tools that you can use within your home, in your school as a college student doing this course, as a professional in any field. These are leadership skills that we should always learn. And one of the main things is being able to listen. Be able to listen. When you listen, you can learn so much more. And also be like the elephant. Have big ears to listen more and a small mouth to say less, so we can learn more about the people around us. So we can not only just learn from them, but as a leader, we can be able to utilize their resources for the purpose intended. Because if we're having a committee discussion, we want to be able to pull all the information necessary for us to have success with whatever that topic is. The ABC topic we're discussing, we want to be able to not only pull out good information for that discussion, but we want to be able to find leaders in that space, leaders who can help within our Lions Club, within our district, within our multiple. So establishing clear goals when we go into that controversial discussion, being able to establish clear goals as to, as a leader, okay, what do I want to accomplish? Do I want to have get a resolution today? How do I deal with this? So have defined goals as to what you want to accomplish during that period of time, what you want to accomplish, and also a desired outcome. Like I said, what do you want to accomplish after today? And how do you want to leave each person who's sitting there in the room in this discussion? And to be able to summarize the key points, key takeaway, and not only for yourself, but being able to say it to the people who are in the room. Okay, today we're going to discuss A, B, C. What we found in this committee discussion, we'll talk about these points, A, B, C, because we found that John Smith and Pam Jones, they were not comfortable communicating in this committee that we formed, and we want to be able to give them a platform to speak. When we're giving a lion or an individual an opportunity to speak, it should be everyone have the equal time, so everyone will feel they're on equal ground. And this should be a situation as a leader, regardless how you feel about the persons in the room, may like, dislike, whatever your personal feelings. As a leader, you have to put that to the side and look at everyone as an equal in that space, because your job is to lead a controversial discussion and do it in a way that is unbiased, that is fair to everyone in the space. So giving everyone enough time, if the time is 5 minutes, 3 minutes, everyone gets the same time, they get the same respect, and so they will feel validated and respected for the time they spoke, and know that everyone in the room is listening to them, and that's clear and concise. And the next thing is to stay on topic, stay focused, keep the discussion on track, because a lot of times, if some people are not always, let's be factual about this and be real, not everyone is a strong leader. And this course, if you don't take away anything, I want you to take away the fact that you have to be in charge of the conversation and of the room. You have to command the room, not in a disrespectful way, but you have to make sure your voice, if you're leading, is in control of the narrative that is happening in the room, because everything will just go out of control. So it's critical, if you're in a space where people feel the need to everyone to speak at the same time, no one will be able to get anything across the room, especially if it's a heated conversation. Something on, let's say, a specific month. Some people feel take it very personally if they want to celebrate a specific holiday, right? Most of us, have different religion. There are different religions out there. Hindus, Muslims, Christian, the Jewish religion. There's so many religions out there amongst what I just mentioned. So someone may say within a club, well, I'd like to celebrate my religion on this time. Others may disagree and say, well, you're one of only 2 people in this club, and why should we have an opportunity to celebrate this particular religion, versus 10 of us over here are a different religion. So these things, as I said, religion, culture, these things are big clashes within organizations, or some of the clashes. So how do we find a solution to that? If there are 2 members who celebrate a particular religion and want an entire club to celebrate this. Well, a simple solution to that, just as a synopsis, is to explore give those 2 lions the task of researching within the community if there are events around that particular religion. And if they do have on a regular basis, which say like an annual event, then those 2 lions will have the opportunity to reach out to that organization and say, hey, well, we are from ABC Lions Club. Is it possible for us to partner with you in this project for whatever religion it is they're celebrating? Can we partner with you so that, our Lions Club could show whatever organization in collaboration with ABC Lions Club is hosting this Hindu fest? Then that's a great idea. So then what happens there now, we solve the challenge of being able to have those 2 lions who are in part of a minority group in the larger Lions Club group are able to satisfy their interests of their religious idea and still have it, and the Lions Club is also included. So that's kind of a way of kind of helping people to solve, little problems within their club, and so that they will feel included, especially if that person is from a different religion or culture. So staying focused and being able to control the room is critically important as a leader, not only for leading controversial discussion, but in general, because if everyone has an opportunity to just start speaking across the room, then no information will be heard. There will be no resolution, and there'll be no respect across the room. So we have to make sure we have control. And if the situation gets to a point where there's no control, then we have to take a break. So you just breathe and reset. You have to be in control, saying, listen, we need to take a break. And at all point, as the person who's leading the discussion, you have to make sure that you're calm and collective, because everyone will feed off of the energy that you're giving. So again, take breaks when necessary, give everyone a chance to reset and just relax a little bit and then come back, right? Prior to having a controversial discussion, it is incredibly important also for you to collect the relative data, do your necessary research, so that before you get into the room, you understand exactly what you're about to do. And make sure that while you're going into that room for that discussion, you already know, what the next steps will be possibly, because if there's no resolve at that particular time, then you have to make sure that okay, what are the next steps? Because again, if you're a leader within that space, this is something you'll not be able to run from. You'll have to be able to face it. So how are we going to deal with this? In some organizations, when a situation is not able to resolve, the best action may be to seek outside support. And if you're within a club, you may need outside support, as in your Lions district. If you're within the district, you may need support from the multiple. So that's how you have to approach it, as a sprung effect, sprung effect where, if you can't solve problems within your club, instead of having it be a dysfunctional setup, you just kind of seek outside help. So there's more a positive energy and good energy within the club, because this will affect the relationship of members going forward. And what happens is something that we all know that people describe within clubs or within organization is called cliques. There are cliques that are established within organizations and clubs because they feel as if Jane is over here aligning with these group of people because Tom over here is not listening, or Pam over here is not listening. So there's a lot of divide, and then it becomes a divisive relationship. So we don't want to have that kind of energy. We want to have it in a situation whereas if you're a leader, everyone must know that this person is a person who's fair and just in how they evaluate the situation. We bring everything on the table, we discuss it, and we come to a resolve. And before you start your discussion, it's important also for you to set ground rules. You must set ground rules. Again, as I mentioned earlier, one of the basic things is giving everyone an opportunity to have 5 minutes to speak, 10 minutes to speak, have your points being read, and then you have to establish there's no foul language. There is nobody passing the time. If the 5 minutes time is up, you get cut off. You have someone look at the time, set the timer, and cut that person at 5 minutes. This is your time to speak, make your points, and you'll have another opportunity again to come around again and speak. But we have to give everyone a fair opportunity to speak so that members who are in that room, again, there are districts that have governors who do not speak as part of an organization. So this is something, and I'm telling this because this is what happens, and there's no conflict resolution, there's no discussions to be had. And these are spaces where we do need to have those discussions so that at least there's some kind of chemistry and there's some kind of camaraderie in that space. So being able to, again, set ground rules, establish guidelines for respectful dialogue and active listening, and go into the space without any kind of biases is difficult for everyone, but it is something that we need to do if we're going into a space to listen to a controversial discussion or being in that space. We have to be able to put everything like we're supposed to do as a jury, going to a jury setting. You're supposed to just put everything, just blank your mind, clear your mind of any kind of biases, and go into that space saying, okay, I'll go today, I'll listen to what Jane, Tom, Paul, and Pam have to say, and let's just put it out there. And based on the information that's presented, I'll just go based on that and then make my decision. So as humans, it does not work that way, but that's the way, would be best in a combative or controversial kind of setup. Now, the next slide here that I have is In some situations, one discussion is not happening. It's not going to make it work. And that's just how it is. That's how we are as humans. If we're in a situation, we have 2 hours, we have 10 people, and there's a discussion, there's no way sometimes 2 hours will work to resolve a matter because some people still have their own biases on how things should be. And what will happen is that you'll find that they'll listen, but they will not necessarily give in because some people are just hell-bent in their ways. So it's important for us to make sure we have a post-discussion. If you don't reach a resolution, have more meetings, have more discussions, and then compromise. Compromise is critically important in any discussion, especially something that deals with controversy. And if it is such that within that Lions Club, within that group, within your multiple, within your district, whatever the contention is, striking compromises, because maybe a previous year, a particular governor or governors in the past have had a specific event in June or July, or let's say September. But the new governor that comes in really does not like that. They prefer something different. Now, how do you strike a balance where everybody is happy? So giving and taking compromises. Maybe we won't have that event anymore in September, or maybe even if you do have it in September, you still have the new governor that is coming in, can still have something that he or she could do that will make them feel like if they're included. Because not because somebody is in that position as a time. I'm always using the governor piece of it because this is a space where people have worked their way up to being a governor, but then there's still that body of governors that are there and they've been there before and they've been there for years and years. But then there's a lot of contention because everyone still wants some of the events or issues that they've had or whatever it is to be the same on track. But then a new governor who's coming in is all excited and want to be heard and want to be seen. But then when they get there, they realize, no, in September we do this, in January we do this. But they're like, no, I want to do this in September. So how do we strike that balance? So it has to be an open discussion. And maybe not that one discussion, or even within a club, that one discussion may not be it. The all discussion has to be pushed over into another time where there's compromises. And the people who are you finding the contention with, that's the person or persons that has to share and say, okay, so let's strike this balance. Let's come to compromise. If you're going to have this meeting in September, can I do this as well while you're getting this? Okay, let's do this. Let's work together. So how can we find that space where we can work together? That's how, we can come to some kind of agreement where we can be able to work together. So reaching a resolution may not always happen at one meeting, like the information says here. And this may take several discussions to find common ground to work cohesively. Cohesive is a very important word in any organization, whether it be a Lions Club, whether you be in your home working as a family, whether it be, wherever you are in a community setting, having a cohesive relationship and having a relationship where everyone is on the same page and on common ground, it is very critical for everybody to have a feel as if they're included, because some people are different. Some people will compromise and say, okay, I don't have to do my activity, but the others will say, no, I want my activity to be, I want to do this, and this is what I'm accustomed to. I've been here for 20 years, and this is what's been happening for 30 years, or 20 years, or 40 years, and it's going to continue. So how do we strike that balance of newness, something new, versus what's always been there? How do we strike that balance? So leading a controversial discussion, we must go into it understanding the things that matter to everyone. And it really comes back to people having a voice and people feel included. And this discussion also on this slide talks about establishing the next steps will depend on the direction of the initial meeting, and staying in control, as mentioned in the previous slide, in the discussion is also very important. Now, being able to review and improve, meaning if you've had a meeting and you notice that there's certain information that is shared brings a lot of anger or frustration to people, then you have to be sensitive of those material and information and not use that in your second meeting. Being able to understand where that person is coming from. Now, being able to also evaluate and adjust. So in evaluating as a leader, if you have 10 people in a room in a discussion, look to see in your first meeting who is the person who's super passionate about a specific topic or thing, and try to single that person out and have maybe one-on-one discussions with that person. See if that would help, because sometimes that helps. Because when you were able to talk to that person, you can probably get a little more out of them, because there's some people who may not want to talk in a public platform how they're really and truly feeling. So being able to just squeeze that information out of that person with evaluating and adjusting also to what you're going to say in the next meeting is incumbent upon the individual meetings you have with the people who are passionate. If you notice in a group of 10 or 12 or 20 people, there are 3 people in particular who refuse to compromise. And for those of you who watch 12 Angry Men, the most compromise, it's important, because if you have a hung jury, you're not going anywhere. Everybody's stuck. So in being able to have that relationship of evaluating and here is it where we all as jury now agree that this is what the decision is. And as Lions, this is what we agree. As community leaders, this is what we agree. As governors, this is what we agree. Okay, this is a compromise. I've been doing this for 20 years in September, my meeting and my event. And you now coming in as a new governor, and you now want to change this. And you want to push my event that we've been hosting here for 20 years. You want to push it into October. Okay. And what do you want to do? Bring this new thing to put some other event on in September, replacing what we've had. Okay. So I guess it's fine. I guess I can do my event in October now while you're doing your new event in September. So let's see how your new event is going to work, and see how that goes. So being able to strike that balance of compromise as a leader, being able to get people to compromise, and be able to develop that consensus that, okay, we're now on equal ground, and thereafter follow up. Follow up is extremely important, because we want to make sure we know how people feel, we know people are satisfied, and as a leader, is our responsibility is just like a parent. A parent knows their children. A mother knows her children. If she has 5 children, she knows which one is going to make their bed. She knows which one is going to do good at washing dishes. A mother knows this, and is just a true leader. A true leader will read their people. A true leader will be able to evaluate and know a situation prior to, and be able to do the necessary research going into a situation and how to manage and handle things. But if now this is a space where you don't know everyone who's in that room, it's your responsibility as a leader to do the necessary research and go into that space and execute. Again, follow-up is critical, because if you've had several meetings and those meetings are not successful, you may need outside help and resources. So that's this little spiel on our presentation today on leading controversial committee discussion. And I don't know if Deanna wants to ask any questions in regards to this.
Lion Wendy, you had a couple of questions. Do you want to jump in and ask them right now, please?
Sure. Couple of questions or thoughts, Dimple. Great information. Thank you for sharing that. Particularly a great reminder that members want to be seen and heard. Do you have any suggestions for strong personalities or personality conflicts where participants don't always care to find a common ground or to learn about other people's perspective? But I've seen instances where people seem more interested in being right than what is best for the group or the organization.
100%. And there's sometimes, unfortunately, one of those in every club. But for someone like that, in my opinion, the best way to handle it is to ask that person, what would you like to see? What are you passionate about? What are your passions? And put them to lead. Line Wendy is saying that, claiming that, okay, my passion is I prefer to go out and gather quotes or lead in a specific space. I think I'm a better marketing person than Jane or John. I should be the marketing person. Give them a chance to lead. Give them a chance to lead where they feel that they will have excellence, so that if it works, that's great. If it doesn't, then we reevaluate, and at least that person cannot say they were not included. So at least they're busy in that space where they claim they're leading in, with hope that at least, they'll be occupied and busy.
Thank you. We had a couple of other comments in the chat. One was that a reminder that we had Lions University Course 101, which is conflict resolution, that might be a good refresher for some other tools in our toolbox if we're going to be dealing with controversial decisions and discussions that could lead to conflict. So there's another resource available. There was a note about like the structure of Robert's Rules of Order can help ensure participation of everyone. It gets their time to speak, where you had mentioned guidelines of like 5 minutes or something. So everyone can be heard without interruption. Two things: as long as it's applied consistently for everyone, so that everyone can feel heard, like we mentioned before. But also it's helpful if some of those ground rules or processes are applied when there's no controversy, so that it becomes routine and expected for people when the conversation might become more heated. So
Absolutely. Great point, line, Wendy. I'll just expand on what you just said, because a lot of Lions Club's bylaws are not necessarily updated, and it's super old. So a lot of times when new Lions come in, the questions are new service projects that they're doing, or some of the things they want to do may not be included in the bylaws there and then. So referring to Robert's Rules is perfect, because while it's somewhat ambiguous in certain pieces, at least it will help to cover what a bylaws does not cover until it's updated accordingly. So Robert's Rule is always a good reference point, and it's good to have.
Okay. And one other question in the chat, this may be situation specific, but if you are leading a meeting or a discussion and are caught by surprise that something is unexpectedly controversial, should you try to plow through or table it until you can do more preparation and research through the steps that you had described?
Yeah. So there's two ways to answer that. One is that depends on the room. If it's a situation where you kind of have an idea about that situation you're going into prior to, because you've heard about it, it's necessary as a leader for you to do your research before going into the room. So if that question is asked, or that situation is, put in front of blindside you, then it's for you now to be able to attack it there and then with the necessary research that you would have had prior to, or like you said, table it for the next meeting so that you can be able to investigate, do the necessary research, so that you don't sound as if you don't understand, or, being able to attack it in the correct way, dissect it in a way where it makes sense and is useful to everyone in the room.
Great, thank you. One more comment that we've got, and that's reinforcing that flexibility is a gift for all of us to have, whether we're leading the meetings or whether we're a participant in meetings. And how can we help other people adopt this flexibility instead of everything's, instead of it being my way, or kind of leading more to controversy, but recognizing, where is it okay to, or appropriate to pick battles versus let something go because of its, we can serve better and meet our mission regardless.
Right. If I understand correctly, there's some people, some lions, lions are people, and people have personalities. And unfortunately, some personalities are just those type of people who is difficult to satisfy them, or it doesn't matter what you do within a club or an organization. There's some people who would always be that combative person. So my solution to anything dealing with combativeness or controversial is to keep, first of all, understand what that person is passionate about or group is passionate about, and keep them engaged by all means necessary, but always engage them to figure out what is it that you're looking for? What are you trying to accomplish? Because in every club, in every organization, in every district, in every multiple, you'll find that there is a group of people who will, don't matter what happens, they will find something to needle pick at. And that's just what it is. So engaging those people in a meaningful way where they can feel like they're useful, and also helping the cause at large, which is the club's cause, the district cause, or the multiple, then that's what it is. Just engagement.
Great, thank you. I think
You're
that
welcome.
covers the chat.
Thank you, Lion Dimple. I have learned so much from your participation in presenting these ideas.
Thank
I
you
would
for
like,
having me. Sorry, thank you.
anytime. I would like to remind everyone to please go into your Lions University account, mark this as complete, and take the 10-question quiz at the end to get credit for this wonderful presentation. Again, thank you, Lion Willibus and Lion Dimple, sorry. I really appreciate your efforts on our behalf.
Thank you for having me, and thank you, Lion Deanna and Lion Wendy. And I look forward to any questions or concerns. If anyone is interested in sending me an email after this course, feel free to do so. I'll do my best to answer your questions or concerns. Thank you.